I'm Gillian West from University College London, along with Miguel Vadillo at King's College and David Shanks and Charles Hulme from UCL. I'd like to present our paper entitled The Procedural Deficit Hypothesis of Language Disorders. We see some problems. The procedural deficit hypothesis states that the impairments seen in disorders such as dyslexia and language impairment are caused by deficits in the procedural memory system. The theory being that memory can be divided into separable procedural and declarative systems, and deficits in the procedural learning system cause language learning difficulties. This hypothesis has spawned a substantial body of research. Most studies compare groups with dyslexia or language impairment with groups of typically developing children of the same age. In some studies, children with language learning disorders have been shown to perform poorly on measures of procedural or implicit memory. However, the results across studies are highly inconsistent. Our work, described in this paper, began as a result of this. Why are previous results examining this issue inconsistent? Is poorer performance on implicit learning tasks really evidence of impaired procedural learning ability distinct from declarative learning? Is such procedural learning domain general as claimed? And just how reliable are the tasks used to investigate the hypothesis in the first place? We took a different approach to previous research in an attempt to answer these questions. We used a concurrent correlational design, recruiting a large sample of 7 to 8-year-old children unselected for ability. We administered a wide range of tasks, testing verbal and non-verbal, procedural and declarative memory, as well as language-related attainment. We tested serial reaction time, HEB learning, and contextual cueing, free recall and serial recall. And we carefully assessed the reliability of all tasks. This approach was designed to allow us to assess the factor structure of the tasks, to examine whether there are separable declarative and procedural memory systems that differentially affect language-related ability. We found measures of declarative memory to be reliable, and they did indeed load on separable verbal and non-verbal latent factors. Verbal declarative memory in particular related to language attainment. The measures of procedural learning showed evidence of implicit learning, as can be seen here in a graph of performance on one of the probabilistic serial reaction time tasks we used. You can clearly see faster response times to trials triggered by a sequence appearing with a high probability and slower response times to trials using a sequence appearing with a low probability. Similarly, in our HEB learning task, participants clearly recalled more items in repeated sequence trials than in random ones. However, we found all the implicit learning tasks to have poor reliability. They correlated extremely poorly with one another as well as with measures of attainment. These results raise questions about the viability of the procedural deficit hypothesis, showing that as currently used, these tasks are incapable of adequately assessing any potential procedural learning system. Our paper discusses a number of possible reasons why this might be the case and poses an avenue for further research. We hope you find it enlightening.